There is a wire inside your body that explains the nights you wake with your heart racing, the hollow exhaustion that sleep never fixes, and the gut knots that tell you something is wrong before your mind can name it. Jesus and his closest walked with an understanding of this not as poetry but as a functioning technology. Your nervous system was meant to be a temple, not a transmitter of fear. What you feel as anxiety is not always a personal failure or a chemical accident. It can be evidence that a channel meant to connect you to peace has been opened to feed something else. This knowledge didn't vanish by accident. Hidden gospels, apocryphal records, and the teachings kept by initiates were pushed aside because they contained instructions on how the human body itself resists predatory forces. Those records were removed from common sight because a population that understands its own wiring is harder to keep anxious, controllable, and crucially, edible. That matters to you because the loss of that teaching is not just historical trivia. It is the reason your automatic defenses have been misread, medicated, and minimized instead of reclaimed. The real key is not a doctrine, but a physical organ and a set of practices you can do with your breath, your voice, and your skin. The vagus nerve, the long wandering nerve at the core of your chest and throat, is an antenna. About 80% of its fibers carry messages upward from your organs to your brain, meaning your body knows danger before your thoughts do. When that antenna is hijacked, your life becomes a steady signal of fear that feeds the hungry forces around you. When you learn to change the signal, you change the relationship. Anxiety no longer proves you're broken. It becomes the trace of a harvest you can stop. This is urgent because every moment you accept the interference, you give away sovereignty in the only place that truly matters, your own nervous system. The truth is practical and immediate. You can flip the switch. First, you must understand the breath, the most overlooked and most powerful control you own, and how a simple reversal of inhalation and exhalation rewrites the chemistry those predators rely on. You have been taught to think of peace as a distant prize, yet your body knows otherwise when fear tightens and restlessness wakes you at night. Your vital breath carries signals that map how connected your vessel feels to a deeper center. That disconnection is not moral failure, but a measurable interference, currents within your biology rerouted by invisible pressures. Recognizing that you suffer from an altered circuit reframes the search for protection into a technical problem with spiritual implication. Ancient Gnostic maps named those invisible forces and taught practical routes to restore the monadic anchor, a term for the inner seat of sovereignty. Those traditions described parasitic pressure as an external influence that burrows into the vessel and distorts vital breath patterns. Contemporary medical institutions often miss this layer, focused on symptoms without accounting for interference that recalibrates living circuitry. You can honor both science and antiquity by learning the mechanisms the ancients preserved and applying them with clear, intentional discipline. The peace Jesus promised is not a vague ideal. It is a function of an intact connection between your monadic anchor and the divine current. The problem you face is a broken link, not a shortage of faith. Disconnection leaves you exposed to parasitic pressure that mimics protection while draining your sovereignty. Reprogramming begins with acknowledgement of that precarious condition and small, repeatable practices that align vital breath and adjust the vessel's resonance so your frequency shield can register and hold the divine signal. Begin by practicing focused attunement to your vital breath, allowing each inhalation to trace the path to your monadic anchor and each exhalation to release parasitic pressure lodged in the vessel. Use repetitive resonant phrases as an internal tuning fork to recalibrate the living circuitry. These phrases are technical tools, not prayers alone. Build a frequency shield through timed centering sessions that formalize your intention and protect the restored connection. Consistency seals new pathways and teaches the body to receive a steady flow of divinity. You will meet resistance as parasitic pressure resists change, offering false comforts that imitate protection. Those comforts become habits that reroute vital breath and weaken monadic grounding. Detect interference by noting recurring restlessness, rapid shifts in feeling, or a drained sense of sovereignty after certain interactions. Counteract with immediate recalibration. Stop. Restore centered breathing to the monadic anchor. Invoke a measured resonant pattern to dislodge the intruder, and rebuild the frequency shield before re-engaging. Persistence over weeks cements new circuitry. Find a guide who understands ancient calibrations to accelerate repair. Receiving divinity requires attention not only in formal attunement, but in ordinary choices that either widen or collapse the repaired circuit. Each decision to preserve sovereignty strengthens the monadic anchor. Each surrender to convenient comforts invites interference back into the vessel. Maintain a practical frequency shield by practicing short, repeated centering intervals throughout the day, and by testing choices against the felt quality of your vital breath. As the circuit stabilizes, the peace promised by Jesus will inhabit life as a steady function, rather than an occasional experience. This is a precise and practical secret. Your biology can be reprogrammed to receive what was promised, but only through disciplined reconnection to the monadic anchor and steady upkeep of your frequency shield. Start with simple, measurable steps. Attune to vital breath, clear parasitic pressure, reinforce sovereignty, and test results in daily life. The work demands urgency, because unresolved interference compounds, yet it yields an immediate shift in how protection and peace register inside you. Commit to the practice and witness the return of grounded, enduring presence. You are carrying an internal radar designed to notice dangers long before thoughts assemble words. That radar is anchored in a subtle channel often ignored, a vital breath conduit that senses shifts in frequency and warns the vessel. Your experience of unease, of being on edge, is not a moral failing, but a form of interference, parasitic pressure that hijacks signal clarity. Recognizing this as information, rather than error, is the first practical secret. Treat the warning as data coming from a living instrument within, not as a verdict on worth. The radar does not work like logic. It reports changes in tone, rhythm, and density that precede explanation. When your vital breath registers a discordant pattern, the body registers before the mind frames a narrative. That early registration is an evolutionary gift and a spiritual sensor combined. It scans for vibrational threats, not only physical ones. Your role is to translate those pre-rational pulses into usable guidance. Learning to hear the cadence of the conduit gives you access to truth that thought often dismisses. Not every alert from the conduit is trustworthy. Parasitic pressure creates a background hum that masquerades as warning, prolonging agitation and eroding sovereignty. A clear signal arrives with precision, a sharp note in the vessel, a focused tightening or opening, while interference lingers, loops, and scatters attention. Test the source by shifting posture, altering breath, or withdrawing attention briefly. True warnings remain coherent under gentle examination, whereas interference dissolves when the monadic anchor is applied and the body relaxes. There are concrete practices to strengthen your radar and reduce parasitic pressure without invoking modern labels. Begin with vital breath tuning, 3 slow inhales, a brief retention where attention rests in the chest, and 2 long exhales that release tension from the vessel. Repeat this pattern until the conduit reports a steadier rhythm. Build a frequency shield by setting intention at the start of the day. Simple phrases of sovereignty that orient the monadic anchor and recalibrate when sensations shift. These techniques train the sensor and clarify signal. Practice testing signals in short experiments. When a warning arrives, enact a small controlled exposure. Approach the perceived source lightly or name the sensation out loud. Then observe whether the conduit tightens or softens. Use the vessel as an instrument of inquiry rather than as a judge. Over time, you will notice patterns. Certain environments or people create parasitic pressure, while others sharpen the monadic anchor. Record these patterns mentally so your responses become faster and rooted in embodied evidence rather than reactive habit. This approach is both practical and Gnostic in orientation. The vital breath conduit functions as an inner oracle, and the monadic anchor is the point of sovereign return. Cultivating the frequency shield is not avoidance, but calibration. It allows the radar to operate with fidelity. Regular short rituals, morning anchoring, midday realignment, evening release, build resilience in the vessel. These habits are methods for living with the radar fully engaged, so that the body's early intelligence becomes a reliable partner rather than a source of confusion. Commit to listening and to testing gently. Trust the pre-rational messages from the vital breath conduit while sharpening discernment with the monadic anchor. When parasitic pressure arises, apply sovereign practices, breath tuning, vessel checks, and brief experiments that reveal real threat versus interference. Over time, the radar will stop pulling you into constant reactivity and will start to guide choices with clarity. This is the promised skill, a practical, spiritual way to move forward from fear into grounded authority over your own inner terrain. You have felt it, an unrelenting tension that tightens the chest, a sense of being watched by something hungry when anxiety rises and protection feels urgent. Those reactions are exactly the signal these dark forces read. They are not literal shadows, but dependent intelligences that harvest low-vibration emotion. Your vital breath and your vessel register their approach, and the more reactive the response, the clearer the signal becomes. Understanding that your immediate alarm can be a beacon is the first practical revelation toward reclaiming control. These beings detect weakness through patterns you consider private: repeated panic, fixation on threat, and a habitual shrinking of presence. They feed on parasitic pressure created when you loop in fear, and they sharpen the interference that scrambles judgment. Social tension acts as a transmitter, passing dense emotional charge across crowds, so the harvest becomes communal and efficient. Recognizing the mechanics, how attention, fear, and reactivity amplify their field, lets you stop acting as a conduit. This knowledge transitions panic from inevitability to circumstance under your influence. Control over your state shows up as a pathway out. The system that primes you to pray toward these entities uses patterned rhythms of breath and focus to destabilize your monadic anchor. Every hurried inhalation or scattered thought loosens the hold on inner sovereignty and allows parasitic pressure to tighten. Interference designs social rituals and media rhythms to synchronize vulnerable pulses. Once you see that these rhythms are engineered, you can deliberately slow, settle, and reorient your vital breath so the anchor regains hold and the field around you changes. Begin with a simple technical practice. Draw your vital breath into the monadic anchor and hold attention there as if calibrating an instrument. Notice parasitic pressure without engaging it. Let the sensation register and refuse to spin into story. Small pauses before reacting cut the harvest line. Practice widening the vessel of presence so your attention does not collapse into drama. Visualize and enact a frequency shield, a boundary of intentional resonance. These acts are not symbolic. They directly interrupt interference and shift who benefits from the emotional field. Learn to read the markers: recurring agitation at certain topics, disproportionate shame or rage, or a sudden feeling of being wronged meant to feed a loop. Track where parasitic pressure concentrates and mark those triggers as interference nodes. Repair the vessel by consistently returning to the monadic anchor and by practicing brief frequency shield tests. Hold steady attention for fewer than 30 breaths and observe if the charge settles. As sovereignty strengthens, conversations change. Peers stop reflexively amplifying harvest and begin choosing different signals together. When enough individuals refuse to play the role of amplifier, the harvest loses coherence. You can be one of those who withdraws consent from the pattern by stopping immediate broadcast of alarm. and by translating reactive impulses into measured, sovereign responses. This does not require withdrawal from life. It requires disciplined application of vital breath and attention to the monadic anchor. Publicly decoupling from fear-driven narratives reduces their traction. Teaching this method without rhetoric spreads practical sovereignty, depriving parasitic pressure of its predictable food. This is the secret in practice. The monadic anchor is an operational tool, not an ideal. By stabilizing your vital breath and by sculpting a reliable frequency shield, you collapse interference into manageable noise. Test this in ordinary moments. Pause before inflaming a quarrel, steady attention when headlines spike, and notice how parasitic pressure ebbs. Sovereignty is cumulative. Each refusal to feed these forces reinforces the vessel and rewrites collective patterns. Act now in simple, repeatable ways, and watch how control returns to you. You have felt the tightening inside your chest, the restless nights, and the sense that something unwanted presses against your attention. You seek protection and sovereignty over your own vessel, a way to stop parasitic pressure before it takes hold. There is a practical art that uses the vagus pathway as a gate, guided by 3 simple actions: conscious vital breath, the tone of your own voice, and a controlled thermal shock. These work together to re-establish calm and deny interference immediate access. Begin with the vital breath as a simple, repeatable ritual. Breathe down into the belly so your vessel fills from below, then extend the exhale longer than the inhale for 4 to 6 cycles. At the end of each extended outbreath, allow a brief stillness that becomes a monadic anchor, a point where parasitic pressure loses its grip. This pattern shifts your internal chemistry toward a calm baseline and raises a frequency shield around your experience, making intrusive patterns less able to attach. The voice serves as an instrument of reclaiming sovereignty. Produce a low, steady hum. On an extended exhale, feeling the vibration in your chest and throat, where the vagus pathway registers internal signals. Sustain tones that resonate through your vessel for 10 to 20 seconds. Then rest and repeat 3 to 5 times. That resonance interrupts interference patterns and signals to your monadic anchor that safety is reestablished, which quickly reconfigures biochemical responses and tightens the frequency shield so intrusive influences cannot easily persist. Controlled thermal shock is a precise intervention you can use when immediate grounding is needed. Apply cool water to your face and the curve of your neck, or briefly expose the back of your hands to cold for 5 to 15 seconds, breathing with intent. The sudden cooling engages the vagus pathway and snaps parasitic pressure into retreat, shifting chemistry and resetting sensations of alarm. Begin with short, gentle exposures and build tolerance. This is an emergency tool that grants immediate leverage over interference when calm methods are slower. Use these 3 practices as a sequence that becomes a reliable protocol for restoring sovereignty. Begin with vital breath to settle motion. Follow with a voiced resonance to lock in the shift, and apply a brief thermal reset when quick sealing is required. Repeating this sequence daily trains your vessel to default towards safety. Biochemical states adjust, and the monadic anchor deepens. Over time, the frequency shield strengthens, and interference finds fewer openings, giving you practical, embodied tools for reclaiming your immediate field. Recognize moments when parasitic pressure is building: sudden racing, dissociation, intrusive images, or a sense of being watched. In those moments, act with the protocol. Slow, vital breaths to anchor, hum to stabilize resonance, and cold touch to finalize sealing. These interventions act fast, changing chemistry and interrupting intrusion circuits so the vessel regains control. Use them before escalation, and in emergency, they provide immediate tools. Over time, you will notice fewer episodes as sovereignty becomes your default expression in daily life. Make practice a commitment, not a performance. so the vessel learns to answer quickly when integrity is tested. Respect the function of these tools. They are for reclaiming sovereignty and sealing personal fields, not for imposing on others. As the monadic anchor strengthens, you will feel clearer boundaries and less vulnerability to recurring interference. Keep the breath, the hum, and the brief thermal reset within reach. They are compact, portable technologies that realign chemistry and allow you to inhabit your body consciously, fully in command of your field. Listen. The simplest act you perform every moment hides a practical key to reclaiming calm and clarity. When fear tightens, when anxiety crowds thought, and the search for protection feels endless, the vital breath becomes an instrument of sovereignty. Within your vessel there is a responsive line, call it the monadic anchor, that answers to pattern and rhythm. By learning to shape inhalation and, crucially, prolong the exhalation, you can unhook parasitic pressure and begin to shift the body's automatic messaging towards safety. When the monadic anchor within your vessel is coaxed by patient breath, it sends down a clear signal of safety, like a reset pulse that softens internal agitation and steadies the heart's rhythm. Prolonging exhalation creates space for that pulse to register. Each long release lowers the frequency of interference that keeps fear active. Think of the exhale as a practical recalibration, not mystical jargon, but a biological lever that lets your body choose safety over alarm, building a frequency shield against recurring disruptions. Begin with posture. Sit tall so your vessel opens, and the vital breath flows unimpeded, shoulders relaxed but not collapsed. Breathe gently through the nose, feeling a measured inhale for a count that suits you. Then extend the exhale longer, 1 or 2 counts more, to invite release. A simple rhythm of steady inhales and prolonged exhales, practiced in short sessions twice daily, trains the monadic anchor to favor calm. Over weeks, this committed repetition reduces parasitic pressure and restores a sense of sovereignty in everyday moments. As this method becomes familiar, notice how emotional reactions change. Fear loses its immediacy, and habitual patterns lose hold, because the monadic anchor now decodes signals differently. Each long exhale is both a biological act and a rite of release, liberating ancestral tensions stored in the vessel and sending a clear declarative frequency that affirms safety. By intentionally rehearsing these breaths during ordinary triggers, you begin to reprogram the messages that run beneath daily life, building an internal frequency shield that preserves clarity and steadies response. Obstacles will appear, tight shoulders, shallow patterns learned from early life, or sudden parasitic pressure that hijacks a moment. When that happens, anchor attention in the physical edge, place a hand on the lower ribs, soften the throat, and guide the vital breath down into the belly so the vessel expands downward. Slow counts help bypass interference. Aim for calm, even breath rather than force. With steady practice, these simple corrections return agency, your sovereignty, over how the body interprets threat and rests into safety. Integrate this practice into ordinary routines, a few measured cycles before a difficult conversation, a longer sequence when waking, and deliberate exhalations before sleep. Short rituals anchored in breath interrupt automatic patterns and create moments where the monadic anchor can reset. Over days, the vessel learns new defaults, and the internal monologue shifts from reactivity to considered response. That steady retraining constructs an enduring frequency shield and returns practical sovereignty, so that protection no longer feels foreign but becomes the habitual background of daily life. This is not a promise of instant perfection, but a precise practice with immediate leverage. The vital breath is a tool you control, and each deliberate exhale weakens parasitic pressure while strengthening the monadic anchor's preference for safety. Start now, in small doses, and be consistent. The gains compound. As the vessel learns to interpret breath as permission to settle, daily life will recalibrate. Maintain discipline, and watch how sovereignty returns, how decisions feel clearer, and how a subtle frequency shield becomes your constant companion. You have carried a heavy silence because fear or parasitic pressure taught you to hide. Your voice is not merely sound. It is a practical instrument of creation and defense, a monadic anchor that restores sovereignty. When you allow your vocal frequency to exist purposefully, you break the imposed quiet and reassert your place in space. This is an ancient practical secret, not speculation. Releasing sound with determined breath moves interference aside. Understand this as a usable skill you can learn and apply today. Positive frequency describes tones that align with your vital breath and strengthen the vessel instead of feeding interference. Practically, positive frequency feels steady in the chest and throat, resonates without strain, and produces a clear, sustained vibration. You can test it by placing a hand on your sternum and noticing consistent warmth and pulse as you sound a long vowel. That warmth shows the monadic anchor engaging. Begin by listening inwardly, matching pitch to comfort, and letting breath be the stable engine for every tone. Start the exercise with posture that supports the vessel, feet grounded, spine lifted, chest open, but relaxed. Inhale slowly, filling the vital breath low in the belly, then release on a sustained vowel, such as ah or o, aiming for smooth, even sound for 8 to 12 seconds. Keep the throat soft, and let vibration travel into the abdomen and sternum. This consistent emission trains the monadic anchor to hold a frequency shield. Practice 3 to 5 repetitions, pausing to sense shifts in your inner atmosphere. Each clear emission chips away at the programmed silence, reducing parasitic pressure that thrives in suppressed voice. As your practice deepens, the vessel learns to stabilize, and the monadic anchor becomes more responsive, so ambient interference loses purchase. The voice will begin to occupy space differently. It resonates outward, seeding a frequency shield that alters how others encounter you. This change is observable. The room feels less tense, conversations shift, and a measurable openness arises when your sound is present and maintained with steady intent. Expect resistance, fear of exposure, shaky tone, or interference from entrenched habits. Begin privately, where the vessel can experiment without external judgment, and use short, manageable sessions that respect your capacity. If the voice wavers, return to the vital breath anchor and lengthen inhalation until emission steadies. Gradually increase duration and volume as sovereignty strengthens. Note the subtle victories: longer holds, clearer resonance, reduced parasitic pressure. These are confirmations that the frequency shield is taking form and your capacity for public expression is expanding. To deepen the practice, couple sound with a concise sacred affirmation that anchors intent in each emission. Choose a short phrase that affirms sovereignty or protection. Speak it softly before a tone, then allow the vowel to carry the meaning outward. Repeat a pattern of 3 affirmations, followed by 3 sustained sounds, gradually extending the sounds without forcing. Keep gestures minimal, an open palm over the chest, or a steady gaze at a fixed point. Both serve as physical anchors that help integrate voice, vessel, and monadic anchor. Commit to a daily ritual, brief but consistent, and treat each session as a recalibration of your frequency shield. Over weeks, those small practices accumulate into tangible shifts: reduced parasitic pressure, increased presence, and a clearer channel for sacred affirmation. Use the voice not only as expression, but as boundary. Announce your sovereignty through tone, and hold space with steady vibration. Begin now. Find a few minutes, coast past initial discomfort, and let the disciplined use of vocal frequency become the reliable lever that changes both inner and outer circumstance. You carry a tightness that comes without warning, a parasitic pressure that squeezes focus and drains clarity. Your fear shows up like an electrical interference, small at first, and then looping until motion is impossible. There is a simple, immediate method that reclaims sovereignty for the vessel. Submerge your face in cold water and let the body execute an ancient reset. This act triggers a monadic anchor response, halting loops and restoring a frequency shield that pushes back the pressure and clears the fog. Begin with a bowl or sink filled with cold water, crisp enough to wake the sensors in the vessel, but not so extreme that it causes shock. Lean forward, inhale deeply through the vital breath, then submerge the face for 5 to 20 seconds depending on tolerance. The cold contact engages reflexes that constrict peripheral flow and pivot resources inward, an automatic monadic anchor that reprioritizes circulation and attention. When you surface, the vital breath returns steadier, and the frequency shield comes back stronger, lending instant clarity. This is not symbolic, it's a tangible purge. Cold immersion acts like a physical exorcism for the vessel, flushing parasitic pressure from sensory channels and recalibrating the internal governors that hold attention. Each immersion interrupts looping patterns by forcing a reallocation of energy toward core functions, restoring sovereignty over perception. Repeatable in short cycles, the method removes accumulated interference and leaves a clearer pathway for decisive action. You will feel the purge as a dropping of weight around the temples and a sharp redefinition of where power resides. Respect the limits of the vessel. This technique is powerful and demands caution. Start with very short submersions, 3 to 5 seconds, until the monadic anchor response is familiar. Avoid prolonged plunges if there is known cardiac interference, a history of fainting, or any condition that compromises breathing channels. Let the vital breath be steady before each immersion, and never force longer holds than what feels controlled. When in doubt, reduce intensity. Cooler splashes and rhythmic dips still recalibrate without overloading the system or surrendering sovereignty. Create a quiet, safe place where interruptions are limited and the vessel can focus on recalibration. Fill a basin with cold water, sit upright, and ground the feet. Take 2 deliberate vital breaths, letting each exhale lengthen the next inhale. Lean forward, dip forehead, eyes, and cheeks in one smooth motion, and hold for a controlled span. Start at 5 seconds and work up toward 20 only if steady. Rise, draw in a steady vital breath, and notice how frequency shifts. Repeat 2 to 4 cycles as needed. The outcome is swift, a clean recalibration that feels like a rebirth for attention and choice. The parasitic pressure loosens, deceptive loops are interrupted, and the monadic anchor holds attention steady where willpower can act. Sensory thresholds return to normal. Decisions feel less clouded and more immediate. This is not a lasting cure for every interference, but it provides a reliable reset that restores sovereignty within minutes. Use it as a definitive tool during acute collapse to recover clarity and re-engage with purpose. This technique has roots in very old practices that understood the body as a living vessel governed by vital breath and anchored perceptual priorities. The cold reset is a distilled formula of those teachings. Provoke the monadic anchor, recalibrate the governors, and re-establish the frequency shield. You are not borrowing mysticism, you are using a practical lever to restore sovereignty. With repeated honest application, habitual interference loses its hold, and a more reliable internal rhythm emerges, one that supports clearer choice and steadier movement through daily challenges. When the parasitic pressure peaks and habitual defenses fail, use this as a last resort protocol to reclaim presence. Keep cold water accessible, practice short cycles during non-critical moments to learn thresholds, and build confidence in the monadic anchor's return. Remember that sovereignty is reclaimed in small, clear actions: a measured vital breath, a deliberate dip, and an attentive return. After the reset, move into decisive steps with the frequency shield engaged, and carry the renewed clarity forward into whatever needs handling next. You have felt parasitic pressure pressing at odd moments, a tightness in the vessel that whispers you are unsafe. You search for protection and a way to reclaim authority over that inner climate. A practical secret: your sovereign field can be trained. Learn to command the vital breath and to anchor response with a monadic anchor. the habitual cascade that feeds fear can be interrupted. Treat fear as an interference to be managed rather than a verdict on your life. Start by noticing patterns of interference without shame. Observe how social pulses, news, or personal triggers alter your vessel's tone and introduce parasitic pressure. The technique is simple. Steady the vital breath, scan the body as a field, and place the monadic anchor at the core. This will not remove external events, but it alters how they land. A clear frequency shield emerges when attention is wielded with intent. You become less reactive and more capable of keeping your inner climate stable through intentional practice. Every day, allocate short periods to calibrate the vessel. Begin with 3 cycles of intentional vital breath, each cycle longer and steadier than the last, allowing the monadic anchor to settle. Then, perform a sweep for interference. Name sensations, locate charge, and redirect energy toward the center. Signal the frequency shield by stating a concise resolve. No grand ritual required. Over time, these small calibrations compound. The habit converts reactivity into measured response, and the body gradually becomes a protected temple under conscious sovereignty. Responsibility is the operative force. When ownership replaces blame, the vessel's operating frequency shifts, and parasitic pressure finds fewer footholds. Use simple checks. Notice how long a perturbation lasts, whether it escalates with attention, and which gestures or words trigger resonance. Then apply targeted correction, short breathing cycles, anchor reinforcement, or a deliberate change in posture to redistribute charge. This regimen trains the field to resist infiltration. Over weeks, those brief corrections produce a measurable drop in reactivity and an increase in settled presence. True victory is not a confrontation with every external threat, but a refusal to resonate. Fear survives on resonance. It magnifies when you answer its frequency. The monadic anchor functions as a breaker, absorbing oscillation and returning it to neutral. The frequency shield then refracts incoming charge, so that contagion no longer takes hold. Practically, that looks like choosing silence over escalation, choosing the measured vital breath over impulsive reaction, and keeping attention directed to the center, where sovereignty is anchored and maintained. Integration requires patience and continuous attention. Social settings, work demands, and intimate moments become training grounds for the frequency shield. When conversation turns corrosive, employ a quick 3-count vital breath and reset the monadic anchor before continuing. When public stimuli spike parasitic pressure, step back and recalibrate rather than mirror the agitation. Over months, friends and environments will notice a changed field. Less interference will mark interactions. The vessel's integrity grows not by isolation, but by repeated, disciplined engagement that preserves sovereignty. Commit to this regimen with disciplined curiosity and insist on your sovereignty every day. Do not wait for crisis to reveal the gaps. Fill them proactively by practicing vital breath cycles, reinforcing your monadic anchor, and activating the frequency shield until it becomes second nature. As these elements integrate, notice that fear no longer dictates the rhythm of your life, and that parasitic pressure loses traction. The secret is not exotic ritual, but steady responsibility. The outcome is a vessel that thrives, peaceful and elevated, continuously protected. You have now uncovered the profound truths that empower your existence. The power of the vagus nerve, the connection to Jesus, and the awareness of the Archons. These 3 tools are in your hands. The interference no longer has a legal claim to your energy. With this knowledge, you can enforce your own sovereignty and reclaim your rightful place as a divine being in this reality. Subscribing to the unwritten word ensures you continue to receive these suppressed records. Here we do not interpret the word. Here we expose what was hidden. This is the unwritten word. Your journey does not end here. Your discovery continues immediately. A related record is available now for continued observation. Proceed.